Hello everyone and welcome to qualifying race 3 of season 6. Today we're at Tsukuba, which is a fairly balanced track. It's got some technical bits but also some long straights, unlike Hirochi. One thing worth mentioning before we start, Tsukuba seems to have fairly high grip levels, so while some cars may have experienced a little bit of understeer at Lakeside, that will no longer be the case here, and most cars will also be able to put down the power fairly well. You know the drill by now. First I'll show you around the track and then we'll get into the competitors. So let's get started. So the main straight at Tsukuba is actually fairly short. You only reach a little bit over 100 miles an hour here, and then you get a hairpin right. This is difficult to get right. You can mess up both the braking point or also, the line through the corner and when you accelerate out. After that you get a fast left and right hand combo followed by a hairpin left. And as you can see, I went very wide there, that cost some time. After that, you get a short straight and some medium speed corners. First a right-hander, then a left-hander. And this left-hander you can mostly take flat out with most cars. Some require a small lift, and then you get to the slowest corner of the track, hairpin right. And once you get through this one, you get onto the long straight. Most cars are going to reach about 200 kilometers an hour here, some over, some under. And then you get the final corner, which is a tricky one. It's a long, fast right-hander, and it tightens towards the second half of the corner. And then you enter the main straight again and you're across the finish line. So our first head-to-head, as always, is the Coventry Climax versus the HFF Cake. The HFF has won both of these head-to-heads so far pretty comfortably. And as we get to the first checkpoint, the cars are still sort of neck and neck, but now we get into the straight here, where the HFF's power advantage is going to give it a little bit of a lead. It did go sideways here in this hairpin, allowing the Coventry to catch up, but as we go through these corners here and then on this into this little faster bit, as you can see now the HFF is starting to pull away, and especially now once we get through this hairpin where the Coventry went wide. But remember, these laps that you see here are my best attempts. I did get some laps with the Coventry where I got a better line through there, but none of those laps were faster than the one you're seeing. But anyway, the HFF is now significantly ahead, and it'll clock in with a 103.0. Our next head-to-head is the Blue Streak versus the Minos Motors, and these two have been pretty evenly matched so far. The Minos won race 1, whereas the Blue Streak won the second race. Through this first hairpin they're pretty evenly matched, although you already saw braking for that hairpin that the Minos has that wobble on braking that the Blue Streak does not, and as a result the braking performance is just much better for the Blue Streak, and that matters here. While the Minos is able to claw back some time here through the fast bits where it's able to accelerate harder, here for this corner in particular you can see how the Minos is just much more unstable on the braking, and as a result the Blue Streak gets a much better line through that corner, exits way sooner, and the power advantage of the Minos will make up some time but not all of the time that it lost there, and the Blue Streak is going to go through this final corner first and finish with a 102.9. On to the next head-to-head, the Catan Corsa versus the Vento XF Caldera. Now on Lakeside the Vento was faster, but at Hirochi the Catan was faster. I would say that Tsukuba is probably a little bit more like Hirochi, so it's more technical than Lakeside, but it does have that long straight before the final corner where the power advantage of the Vento is definitely going to come in. So far the Catan got a cleaner first little bit and was able to get through that hairpin left much faster, so it's got a small lead here as they approach the slowest corner of the track. Now going through the slowest corner of the track, this hairpin right, both cars get a fairly clean line through here, and the Catan went in first, so it is still in the lead now, but the Vento is faster because it's more powerful, down the straight here. So it is fairly close, but the Catan once again has the handling advantage, so it can go through this final corner faster, and it's going to finish with a 103.9. Up next we have the THRS versus the Scarab. The Scarab has won all of these head-to-heads easily so far, and while the THRS is very powerful on the straights and can match the Scarab for up until checkpoint 1, that's where it ends, right, for the THRS. As you can already see, it's once again all over the place, and the higher grip levels at Tsukuba don't really help it here, because they're not enough to offset a truly, suboptimal handling balance. The Scarab once again shows great balance, and it's able to go through these corners in a very efficient way. It brakes well, it goes well, it handles well. It's just a great all-rounder here once again. And so it's already got a significant lead coming onto the main straight, or the back straight I should say, and into the final corner. The THRS is sideways as always, and the Scarab is going to clock in with a 103.4. On to the next head-to-head, the Delcia Amalie versus the Sabre 11. The Sabre has won both of these head-to-heads so far, and is actually leading in the qualifying round overall, despite not winning either of the first two races, but it's just the most consistent so far. The Delcia is showing great compliance through these corners. The soft dampers are really helping with the grip here, and it's very planted around these corners. The Sabre also benefits from the higher grip levels at Tsukuba, however, and is much less of a handful here than it was at Lakeside as a result. Now, while both cars are good at cornering, the Sabre is unquestionably quicker on the straight, so whenever there is even a short straight, the Sabre pulls ahead of the Delcia quite easily. Now, the Delcia itself is doing very well here, as you'll see with its finishing time, but the Sabre will win this head-to-head once again, and it's going to clock in with a 103.0 just behind the HFF. On to our final pairing, once again the Aero GPF4 versus the Martin 2005. In the previous two races, the Aero won this head-to-head comfortably due to its excellent handling and great grip, as well as being more powerful than the Martin in general. Now, you would expect the Aero to be one of the top cars around this track, and so did I going into this race. However, the overall higher grip levels on Tsukuba benefit the other cars more than they do the Aero, and in fact its already very pointy and aggressive front end does work a little bit against it here, as the car is likely to oversteer on turning, unlike on the previous tracks. And that hurts the Aero overall, plus the gearing doesn't really work that well here, especially in the final corner, where third gear is just a little bit too short and fourth gear is too long, so it kind of bogs down coming out of the of that corner in fourth gear, and all of that while still beating the Martin results in a time of 104.1. So there you have it, the Blue Streak wins once again after having already won at Hirochi. So it's excellent handling, it's great traction coming out of corners, and it's still good but not the best acceleration. Turned out to be the best overall package here for Tsukuba, a very balanced track. So that's it, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the main competition. Thanks for watching.